How high is a soccer goal?
Wait, how high is a soccer goal?
Yeah, like feet. How high is are one of those?
Okay. I feel like it's going to be something really specific because I know I can like very easily if I'm standing, like I can reach the top quite easily.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to go, and the thing is, it's going to be some European measurement as well. So I might be like random for feet and inches, but it might be very specific for like in meters or something, right?
I can't tell you anything, but it is a
Yeah.
straightforward answer. It's actually not as complicated as I feel like you're making it out to be.
In feet?
It is in feet. It is in feet. The answer's in feet.
8 feet.
Bingo. Right on it. Yep. 8 feet. Yeah.
All
That
that
says a lot
playing
about-
soccer for years and years growing up finally paid
Yeah.
off.
Really, for this moment. That says a lot about how tall you are, though, Jeff, because 8 feet and you can easily, touch it.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd have to, like, jump to hit it.
No, I might have to jump, but it's more like a hop. It's not like a full
Yeah,
jump.
yeah. Understood. I once, because I used to play soccer too, and I was a real like antsy kid, and I went to like jump to hang on the top of it once, and I got it, but then I swung, I swung forward and landed on my back, and
Did you get like the wind knocked out of you?
no, but it hurt a lot. But I've only had the wind knocked out of me once, and that was really
Yeah, because I did
brutal.
something similar to where I used to put my basketball hoop outside of my house growing up.
Yeah.
I would put it down to like, 8 feet so I could dunk when I was younger.
Yeah.
And one time I dunked and then I like did the thing where I also swung forward or swang forward as you said.
Swang forward.
I swang forward. And then I landed on my back and I just like couldn't move for like 10 minutes.
Dude, that is really... Dunking is a lot more dangerous than people realize. It's not only a huge athletic feat, but there's a foot joke somewhere in there, but but it's also a dangerous thing for your feet or something.
Or your back.
Or your back, in this case, yeah.
Yeah, so how's your week been?
Oh, it's been okay. I am meeting my girlfriend's parents tonight, so for the first time. So
Wow.
I feel like this is a nice shirt. It's nothing special, just like a pretty basic like, hey, this is who I am.
Yeah, you said you were hard out. Now I know why.
That's why.
Wait,
Yeah.
imagine if you were late because and you would be like, yeah, I was recording a podcast.
I mean, they know I have a YouTube channel, which is unfortunate. I feel like I'm not worried about meeting them, for the record. I feel like I'm pretty good with parents. I'm smooth.
Yeah,
and
no, you're
a
cool.
likable guy.
Yeah, my mom
the-
has never met you, but like you said hi, I think on like a
Yeah.
webcam once when she walked by,
And
and she's like, yeah, that Karsten sure seems good with parents.
yeah, I remember her saying that. Yeah, really.
Yeah,
So I'm not too worried. I fear that they're gonna play my videos at the table or something. Like the topic's gonna come up, and one of them is gonna be like, "Oh well, let's pull them up." And that's like one of my least favorite things in the world is when people
Yeah.
play my videos in front of me. It's unbearable.
If they do, which video would you least like for them to play?
Well, I'm in a bad spot because my most recent video and one of my most viewed is the Boss Baby video I just did. So there's a chance they open up the thumbnail for that one, which is like the naked boss baby, like across the entire thumbnail. It's a really bad video to start with. And in that video, it's all about how a father falls in love with his, well, it's not about, but there's like this incestuous relationship between the father in the movie and his daughter, because he goes back as a kid. And yeah, that's really not the movie I'd want, or the video that they should watch in front of me. The best one, I don't know actually what the best one would be. I said that and then I didn't have an answer.
I think the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if there are any good ones. Okay. There are good videos. Okay, that's not what I meant. I didn't mean there's. I meant for this situation.
For this situation. No, yeah, I'm not very comfortable with any of them. Even the ones I'm proud of. I'm like, I don't want you to watch.
No, you have plenty of good videos, because I just right after I said that, for a brief second, I'm like, it sounded like I was saying all of your videos were bad, and that is not what I was saying.
It would have been funny if you said just a really random video, like the what I watched this month for April of last year.
I'm like, what I watched for September 2020. That was the best one.
That's a great video. Yeah. So that's my week. I went bowling last night and it was a lot of fun.
That's cool.
But, yeah.
Yeah. You know what I just thought of? So just talking about what I watched videos.
Yeah.
Your what I watched video. That's confusing to even say. But so athletes very frequently in interviews can recall very specific events from like past games.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if you could do that with your what I watched videos. If I was like, August 2020, what was one of the movies you watched?
It was Little Shop of Horrors. I remember that was that and Heathers. I watched those two in August. The August 2020 video and the July 2020 videos. I watched a lot of movies that summer, so those are both like chock full of,
See, there you go.
There we go.
You're just like LeBron James.
I'm just
because LeBron James, someone's like, "Hey, do you remember this play from like a game last year? Like specifically, like it's like you passed it to this guy," and he's like, "Yeah," and then he like would go through in his head. He's like, tell you like where everyone was on the court.
Yeah. That's like me recounting my videos.
It's like you recounting movies that you've watched.
Yeah.
Like, I was watching Little Shop of Horrors, and then in the back corner of the room, someone was drinking iced tea.
One of my more impressive plays, for sure. Like press plays. How are you, Jeff? You're in Austria?
I am in Austria. Still, yeah. Tomorrow I won't. Well, tomorrow I will be, but I'm currently in the northern tip, and I'm gonna be in the southern tip just for like one night, and then I'm gonna go into Slovenia.
Nice. Do you have like how much do you map out? Like currently, like I know you're going to Slovenia next, but do you know where you're going after that?
So I usually don't map out anything. Yeah, that's what I usually do. Is I just figure it out as I go. So I had one time where before I came here, I was sitting in the morning that like I had to leave Munich. I was sitting in like the hostel like room after I had already checked out, and I'm like, where should I go today? So I planned it literally 1 hour before.
That's crazy. I respect that approach a lot. Not something I could ever do. I'm someone who functions in the opposite way, but I imagine that's a lot more fun because you don't have a lot of expectations, so you kind of always get something good out of it. I don't know.
Yeah. Currently what I'm thinking I might do is I might go to Slovenia next, and then Croatia, and then Bosnia and Herzegovina.
That's
and then maybe North
Macedonia.
Macedonia.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I might go to Greece, or maybe not. Then I might go because I'm deciding if I want to like maybe end the trip after that, or I might then go to like Finland.
Yeah.
And just take one flight because I haven't taken any flight since I got here.
Are you gonna try and get to like the seashore? Like, are you gonna try and like see the water at any point here?
Yeah, in Croatia. I'm going to try to go to Split, which is like a sea town.
Okay, because
I've already in France. God. I went to the sea a few times.
Nice.
But
I
yeah,
just
might
feel
try
like
to
that
get-
part of Europe is stunning.
Yeah,
And-
that Croatia. Yeah, specifically, I know everyone thinks it's like one of the most beautiful countries.
Yeah, that's
So yeah,
gonna
that's
be
the
really
plan.
nice. Damn. Well, that's awesome. I'm very
Which is
jealous.
this is the most I've had planned out, and I did it earlier today. I kind of like mapped it out. I'm like, maybe I could do
Wow.
that. So if none of the restrictions change from now in the next like couple weeks, that might be the plan.
Nice. Well, I'm very excited for you, Jeff. Is it gonna all be like trains and buses or?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Really seeing the world.
Yeah,
Cool.
no one. I wear the Karstcast hat everywhere. No one has said
no one
anything
has.
about it.
Who was
Yeah.
it? Someone commented or messaged us. It was in your comments. Someone from like Pennsylvania who has the Carscast hat and was like, "I get a ton of nods here," and I don't believe that person. I don't
believe that at all. I mean, they might get some nods that are like, "You're wearing a hat."
Yeah, like cool hat. I don't know what that's from, but I'm like, I find it very hard to believe we have a heavy fan base and
Anywhere,
Pit.
like, yeah, I don't think I think we have a decent amount of fans, but they're not. It's not densely populated in one region.
no. I should check our analytics though and see what specific city, because I
Yeah.
think Spotify lets you know that.
Yeah.
And-
What if we were just huge in one city?
I
Like
know.
Lincoln, Nebraska. We had like 2,000 listeners or
Very
something.
dedicated. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if we have had at least one listen in every state in the country, though. You know,
Ooh. Yeah.
I've had it for my YouTube videos. I've had at least one play in every single state, but for
Well, of course.
the
You have
Carscast,
like you have videos that have like 2 million views.
yeah, I have
of
like a
course that-
few. I have plays in like China, which I didn't think I didn't know. I thought they like banned YouTube or something. But
They did. They let you in though. They like you.
they let me. Yeah, they were like, we got to figure out what this guy's watching
Yeah.
this month.
Oh,
Yeah.
Just real quick, as a strategy, just based on my earlier Lincoln, Nebraska thing, what if we go really hard for the Lincoln market? We just start mentioning Lincoln, Nebraska, and we only do
All the
films that
time.
were filmed in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yeah, we should watch Nebraska, the film.
Yeah, and then
I'm
we'll also
sure.
review the Bruce Springsteen album, Nebraska.
Nebraska. Yeah, we should watch the movie Lincoln.
Yeah,
About
okay, I'm
Abraham
just gonna
Lincoln.
Put my mic down, and I'm just gonna look. I'm gonna Google real quick. Films.
Nebraskan films. I wonder.
Films from Lincoln, Nebraska.
Notable Nebraska alumni.
Maybe
Notable
like
Nebraskans.
JJ Watt. No, he went to Wisconsin. My brother went there too. I should. Okay, this is just giving me a list of movies that are playing near Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yeah, I do think Nebraskan or Nebraska in general is a really satisfying name for a state.
Yeah, you think so? Is that your
I
favorite
like
state
it.
name?
Yeah. Okay. Malcolm X is from Omaha, Nebraska. As is
That's cool.
So we could watch Malcolm X, the biopic.
So I have real quick. I have two film. Well, okay, I have some films here. A list that say the filming location. At least one of the locations was in Lincoln, Nebraska. Now, one of them is Bad Grandpa. Another one is Yes Man.
Oh.
Another one
Yep.
is the movie Nebraska. So that one.
Yeah. That's
For some reason,
obvious.
that's not number one on the list. That's behind
right.
Bad Grandpa, and Yes Man.
and Yes Man.
About Schmidt. Let's see if we got any other.
They should merge Yes Man and Bad Grandpa and name it Yes Grandpa and Bad Man.
Should they? Okay,
Marlon
there's nothing
Brando
else I think
is from
notable.
Nebraska as well.
Well,
Warren-
now
who's Warren
if you
Buffett
live in
again?
Lincoln, just spread the word. This is now a Lincoln, Nebraska podcast.
Yeah.
We love Lincoln,
We
Nebraska.
love Lincoln, Nebraska. That'll be where our first live show will be in some field in Nebraska.
Yeah,
And you gotta
Karsten
find us.
now. If Karsten ever has a child, Karsten says that he's going to name them Lincoln.
Didn't say that, But yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Lollapalooza's happening not too far away from me right now.
Yeah. You
DaBaby
you hear
was
any of the
supposed to
music?
perform, and they pulled him. I don't hear any music.
Yeah,
No,
I
to
think
be
that,
honest,
that makes sense.
that makes sense. I was wondering this whole time. Well, today's the day he was going to perform, and he was pulled out of it this morning. And his whole controversy thing's been going on all week. And all I've been able to think about, because Lollapalooza's happening, I'm just like, what if no one shows up to his set at Lollapalooza? Because I was like, who would? I mean, there's probably a good amount of people that
I think
would
a
still
lot of
go.
people would.
A lot of people would still watch, but I'm just like, that is fascinating that he but they ended up pulling him, so but yeah, it really doesn't feel like there's a festival going on. I haven't seen any festival goers, haven't heard any music. Yeah, that's all I have to say about. I'm just like I'm leaving town tomorrow, which makes me happy because I'm like I get out of it before Chicago becomes a hot spot for the coronavirus after this. Yeah. Anyways, that's the news for today.
That's the news. That was the saddest news segment ever. Everyone's going to be telling us cancel the news segment if that's how it's going to be.
My news article is Lollapalooza drops DaBaby from lineup after his homophobic remarks, and I realize now there's not a lot to riff off on that one.
Also, you didn't even present it as like a news headline. You just kind
No,
of went for it.
I kind of just started talking
You just
about
went
it.
to the commentary right away, so I didn't even know that was the news segment.
I scoured the New York Times for a while, and I just couldn't find anything good. There was an opinion piece on why we should get rid of those restaurant sheds that they put out on the streets, you know, like those wooden structures, because it's like bad for public space, or like there's a better way we could be doing it, and I'm indifferent towards it, which is why I was like, I've never been in one of those sheds. So
Here's an idea I have. What if we get rid of opinion pieces in newspapers?
Yeah.
Because that's not news. People then read that and they're expecting news, and then people treat it sometimes, if they're not that smart, they treat it as news. And, you know, we have enough opinions. It's pretty easy to get your opinion out there.
Yeah.
You just go on
Start
Twitter.
a YouTube channel.
Start a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
People will find your opinions about animated fur. We didn't need you to go in the New York Times and write an op-ed about how animated fur is bad.
And that way, if they disagree with you, they can attack your voice as well, because it's a vocal thing, not a written article.
Yeah, exactly. They can say, not only is your opinion on animated fur wrong, your voice sounds stupid.
And that's why you should do YouTube.
Exactly.
Really pushing,
Perfect.
selling it.
Your voice
speaking
doesn't
of-
sound stupid. You're good at speaking on YouTube.
Thanks, Jeff. Thank you. Speaking of YouTube, Carscast alum Olivia, her channel Dog Eat Dog is blowing up, doing well.
Yeah?
Yeah, she did a video on the Mortatwai ship. I don't know if you know what that is.
I have no idea what that is.
It's too complicated to explain, but it's got like 40,000 views, which is pretty impressive.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, doing well.
So I just remembered that I have a YouTube channel when you said that. I'm not joking when I genuinely forgot for like over a month that I was doing that for a while. And I actually filmed before I even left on my trip. Like maybe even a month before I left, I filmed the 1,000 subscriber thing, and I never finished it because I just forgot.
Never put it up. No, it's a forgotten
well, no, I
channel.
didn't even finish it. I just completely forgot that I had a YouTube channel.
That's really unfortunate, because I wanted you.
I'm gonna do that again.
You were like, once I start traveling, we're gonna have all these travel vlogs and videos. And
yeah,
how's that going?
Traveling is actually very tiring. It turns out. Because I'm not staying somewhere if I was staying somewhere for like a week, I could do it. But since I'm only moving around like every like 3 days,
you're not. Yeah,
I just don't have the time. I walk around a town like, you know, just walking around Salzburg earlier.
Yeah.
Walk by Mozart's house.
Could you feel the creative energy? Walking past it, or
no?
Okay.
No, it was yellow though. Does that help?
It's great. You were walking by Mozart's house. That was like two pioneers of sound.
Two players. Yeah,
One of the greatest musicians and
I'm
one
like
of the greatest
Mozart
podcasters.
of
Yeah.
podcasting. I'm,
Yeah.
I'm the Mozart of small to mid-sized podcasts.
Yeah. Yeah. There's I'm gonna say on the there's a character in that new M. Night movie, Old, whose name is Midsize Sedan.
Yeah,
And he's a rapper named Midsize Sedan in the movie. And when you said midsize, that reminded me of that. And
yeah.
it's a pretty fun movie. But
I
speaking
guess
of
we should probably talk about it. Speaking of movies,
movies, thing is, I was gonna say, speaking of YouTube channels or influencers, and then I was gonna jump into it. But anyways, today we're talking about Spree. This is
it's not based on the candy.
no. It's based on Uber rides, actually.
Yeah. Okay, chewy sprees are very good. Regular sprees, they're kind of chalky, not that good. That's my
I've
review
never
on
had 'em,
candy
so I
sprees.
can't. Yeah. I've never had them, so I can't speak. I don't have a lot of candies. I only have chocolates, which I'm more of a chocolate guy.
That's a little weird. The way you said that just sounded like you're like, I don't have candies. I just have chocolates. Like you didn't even say that you just like I like chocolate better. You're just like, I don't have candies. I have chocolates.
I have chocolates, yeah.
I have chocolates. Open my drawer, just full of chocolates.
This is a 2020 movie directed by Eugene Kotliarenko, starring Joe Keery, and the synopsis reads, desperate for an online following, a rideshare driver has figured out a deadly plan to go viral, and he will stop at nothing to get his 5 minutes of fame. And I kind of want to do that because like Google right below that always has like a selection of reviews from like users. And
Yeah.
this movie has like a bunch of 5 stars and a bunch of 1 stars, like very polarizing movie. And this 1-star review from user S says, a stupid and drawn out Black Mirror episode copycat. At the beginning, I was kind of intrigued by the way the story was. Actually, I'm not going to read all this. I don't think this is a very long.
Yeah.
Didn't laugh once at the comedy aspect. That's what S thinks.
Yeah.
But what do we think? That's what people came to
That's
think
yeah.
and to hear. No, I'm reading other people's reviews.
I was like, this is a bold new direction for the podcast.
I just like kind of jumped into this segment, and then I was like, you know what? Maybe this one doesn't work.
What if
as
we
well.
like then pulled up the random person, we found them and like had them as a guest to talk about their review?
Get in here, S. Yeah. Special guest.
Then
S.
but since they want to be anonymous, we had to do like the voice changing and like pixelated face.
Like silhouette.
Like, I just didn't laugh once in the whole film. I didn't laugh at the comedy aspect of it.
Like,
I forgot how good you were at doing that. Because for some reason you had you do that voice one time.
we did it again, yeah.
Yeah, it's like dead on like that impression.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Actually, you know what? Read like the first line of a 5-star review, also doing that voice.
I'll read it at 3-star.
Okay, 3-star. Yeah.
At the most, this movie was okay. The acting was good.
I think.
I think the only thing holding it back was Kiri, which is disappointing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyways. That's what anonymous 3-star reviewer thought. What did you think, Karsten?
I actually, this might be a hot take. I really like this movie. I think it's
Really?
Yeah. I watched it with, actually, we just talked about it, but I watched this with Olivia and Cookie, and those two did not like the movie. I kind of liked it, though, and I know a lot of people that don't like it, but for some reason, something about it, I'm like, I do think this is a very stupid movie.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the
Okay.
greatest thing ever. I'm not going to call it amazing, but I think it works at what it's doing.
I think that you can misconstrue this film as because it does, have this social commentary like element, but I don't. It doesn't really try very hard to do that. It's just like a very surface level social commentary, and I think some people. I think that's all they were trying to do. I don't think they were really trying to have like a deep social commentary with this film, even though like the plot makes that seem like a much bigger part of the director's intention than I think it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think this film is a weird, man.
I've wanted to watch it for so long and just kind of like went for it last week. And yeah, I don't know what I was expecting. I agree. It's very weird.
Okay, watching this felt like a combination of Ma and Guns Akimbo.
But but I think it's better than both of those movies. Do you disagree? You didn't like this movie.
No, I agree. But I think I'm not by as much as I think you think. I think it's better than both of those by like that much. Where I think you think it's better by like that much.
Yeah.
For anyone listening to the audio of that, I was making hand gestures.
Yeah.
That where
Great
one was more than the other.
Yep. Pioneer of sound right there.
Oh, yeah, I'm like, okay. So anyway, I thought you thought that it was better by this much. Wait, no, I thought it was better by like, zoop. And I thought you thought it was better by, zoop.
Yeah. Okay. I guess the best way of like saying this is by I'll acknowledge the things that I don't think are good about this movie first, that I think hold it back. And that's, I think it's a little bit, I follow the director on Instagram, and I have for like months before watching this randomly. I think like Taylor J. Williams, another Cars Cast alum, like did a video on him. So I followed him. He's a really goofy dude, like very, very weird. And so I can't tell if what part of this is meant to be profound or meant to come off sincere and what isn't, because a lot of it feels like it's making fun of influencers or movies that try to like
be
bring
profound
meaning.
And have this social commentary.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I was trying to say, where I think some people who don't like it think that it's just a really, really on the nose social commentary.
Yeah.
Where I think that this film was just saying, this is clearly a topic you can have a social commentary about, but I'm not really doing that. I'm just making a dumb movie with this premise.
Yeah. Because I don't actually know, like, I think it's like a really fun movie. I don't think it's a very smart movie, but that's not what I get out of it. I think another thing is that recently, I just did a video on this other movie called Mainstream, starring Andrew Garfield, that is very similar to this, where he's kind of playing like Jake Paul. But the opposite about that movie is he doesn't like kill anybody. He just like gets really famous, but the things he does, he like pranks people or like runs around Hollywood Boulevard naked and like shits on a desk and stuff. He just does a bunch of like crude things.
I mean, you've done that.
We all do that.
That's just normal stuff.
And I thought that movie was like incredibly tone deaf and out of touch with actual internet culture. And I think what I like about this movie,
I felt kind of like that about this film. I know your point is that you think this is more in touch.
I think this is very.
I think
in
that
touch.
the way it's perceiving the use of social media. Obviously, it's like this very amplified version where it's people who are like always streaming, and obviously that's not real life. Like, you don't have people that are always on Instagram Live who don't have followers. The people that are always on it are the people that have followers. So I don't think there's very many of these like sad people that have like 5 people watching them stream, but they're still always online, right? Like that's so that's kind of weird that they were. It wasn't just like this guy who with like a mental illness who's like the main guy. Like he was even like the comedy promoter guy.
Yeah.
You know, but I think that, I don't know. I think, some of the ways like the Instagram stories were perceived were pretty accurate. So some of the stuff, You say something.
I was just gonna say I agree that the Instagram Live part of this was pretty inaccurate because nobody is out here like live streaming their entire night. Like no one's documenting like their like conversations with like their mom and stuff. It's just like that was clearly
it's
like it only existed to like bring because the whole thing is like found footage all recorded through screens, and it only existed to kind of like make the movie work, which I get, but it was also not accurate.
The thing I found most interesting about this film was the fact that it was like a fake found footage film, but now the found footage is from streams.
Yeah.
That concept is really interesting because, the first documentary I saw that was like that was Amy.
Yeah. Great documentary.
Yeah, that's such an interesting documentary because there's this, found footage that's this personal things that are taken where obviously found footage used to be like newsreels and like interviews and incorporated, and obviously found footage was always found footage, but it's now like personal like phones, and there's much more of it than there used to be. Does that make that? Sense, right?
That makes sense.
Anyways, my point. Sorry.
No, go.
I'm bringing it back. Remember, it's nighttime in Austria. So this, I think, is kind of how the future of actual documentary found footage is going to go, where it's, Summoning Saw, we've talked about it a couple times. That uses, for anyone who doesn't know Summoning Saw, it's a YouTuber who makes video game speedrunning documentaries that are really good.
Yeah.
And they use a lot of streaming clips of people like speedrunning the game for the documentary. So that kind of reminded me of that a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm getting into like the future of found footage because of this film.
No, it makes sense. That is a big part of this movie that I liked a lot and I thought worked. Because there was a movie a few years ago, I don't know if you remember it. It was called Searching, starring John Chu. And it was a thriller horror movie done entirely. It was like a crime movie of this man trying to like find where his daughter is, and the whole thing is told through like screen recordings of like the computers and like seeing where he clicks and stuff.
I didn't see it, but I remember hearing about it.
And it's really well done, and I really liked it. But the whole like this entire movie takes place on the screen thing was it was always in your face, and you're like constantly reminded of it. And I think this movie works really well because with Searching, no one's watching. Like, you're never like watching like security cameras and stuff, because a lot of the times that movie is using like security cameras and whatever. It felt like I was watching a movie, whereas this movie, the fact that it's all like live streams and YouTube videos and his own like GoPro footage, I'm just like, this feels like I am watching a collection of videos edited together in a way that makes a movie.
Yeah, except for when they use like the actual security camera, like black and white blurry things for their wide shots.
Oh, yeah.
So the rest of it, though, I agree, does actually work in a pretty compelling way. Now, one thing that I did find very funny, to me at least, was, have you ever seen the game show Cash Cab?
Yes.
That's every time they were doing the GoPro setup in the car with like the lights and stuff, I kept thinking of Cash Cab.
You're in the Cash Cab. They should have done a Cash Cab joke at some point. Have you watched that guy's stand-up special, by the way? The Cash Cab guy? It's really good. No. I mean, I haven't watched it since high school. Maybe it sucks, but the man's a comedian.
Yeah. Dude, you know what? This would have been an interesting movie if they just made it a Cash Cab murderer instead of a Lyft or Uber murderer.
Yeah. We should make a movie about that, where
the Cash
Cab. It's like a Cash Cab parody, but like he's a serial killer behind everything.
Us having a meeting with like the Discovery Channel or whoever has the Cash Cab rights, and we're like, okay, so we need to use your IP, Cash Cab, but we're making it so that the driver murders everyone.
It's called Killer Cab.
Is his name like Benjamin Bailey? Is that his name?
Yeah, Benjamin Bailey, which is a crazy name.
What if we try to get him to star in the film? We're like, so you just have to be the guy in the Cash Cab, but at the end you're going to murder them.
I think he'd be down, to be honest. He seems like he'd have a sense of humor. um, yeah, I'm picturing the trailer for a movie like that, and it's
Yeah.
like the final thing is him like in a menacing voice going, "You're in the cash cab," and then like
The
cutting
opening shot
someone's-
is of the roof, like, and all the tiles in the roof like light up, and the sound like the sound plays, like the ching sound of like the money.
yeah. They all turn red like blood.
It's like, what if I told you that winning cash, but losing your life?
The tagline's "The ride of your life" or something. How much are you willing to die for this? Or I don't know.
Yeah. Wait, and you know how at the end they can double or nothing for the
Oh my
video
god, the
with
double
the
or
video?
nothing, you get killed.
Wait, the video clue is because they play a video. The video would just be Benjamin Bailey pulling out a gun and like staring at the camera, and then they look up and he's doing that in real life.
That'd be so funny. Because Benjamin Bailey's like not an intimidating person either. He's just like, oh man. Yeah. Okay. Well, this
Anyways,
movie.
what do you think about Joe Keery's performance?
I think it worked for me sometimes, and sometimes it didn't. It felt like I thought he was really funny. Especially near the end, the crazier he got, the better he got. But near the
Well-
beginning, he felt very like one-noted. Like,
Yeah,
hey guys,
I mean,
I'm trying to.
To counter what you said, thinking it was funny. If you remember, S from the 1-star review did not laugh a single time.
No, yeah, S did famously did not think it was funny.
I actually also did not laugh a single time, if I'm being honest.
I laughed out of uncomfort. I thought it was funny, but I agree. I didn't like. There was no haha moments. I didn't think it was.
Yeah,
no,
it's
no, no,
not
no.
laughing funny. It's just conceptually funny.
I was laughing at the chat and the comments. I don't know how much of those you were reading, but they're
Some of them.
they're pretty funny. And I think one of my favorite like anecdotes about this is that Eugene Kotlyarenko wrote all of the chat himself. Like he typed everything individually, and like there's so much funny shit in there that I'm just like, wow, anyways, that was a part that I really liked about this. And that's the thing, the chat, which is a big part about the movie, is like very accurate and feels like a real like Twitch chat that I've seen before, and that's another thing I really appreciated.
Yeah, the characters in this, including Joe Keery, all were pretty much one-note characters.
Yeah.
Like there's no depth in any of the characters, right? Like you see who they are, and then they just keep acting that way that you initially are presented with.
Yeah.
And obviously most of them are only on the screen for, not a long period of time, except for Joe
Yeah.
Keery, but also Joe Keery is like this guy who's pretty much, like mentally ill, and he just acts the same way the whole time as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's not a lot of character development
I
in this
think
film.
Kyle Mooney is the worst character in the movie.
Yeah.
He was really unbearable to watch.
And also just that, like, his character was so unnecessary to the plot.
Yeah.
So pretty much Kyle Mooney played a really, really creepy guy who was like the most hateable character in the film, and it
Yeah.
served no purpose for the plot.
Yeah, no. It was just kind of like a creepy LA comic guy,
Yeah.
which
Yeah, you know what? That actually is a good point, because that is like a stereotype of comedians, like male comedians specifically, is that they use
Yeah.
any kind of pull they have. So you know what? I'm going to take that back. That's actually a fair point. Is that it's just a very good, caricature of that type of person that does exist by all accounts.
yeah.
So you know what? You've changed my mind, Karsten.
No,
Kyle
no
Mooney's
problem.
character is terrible, but does serve a purpose.
Necessary. Yeah.
Not necessarily for the plot, but just for the world building.
Yeah. Yeah. Ugh. I don't know. I liked this movie. I think it gets this. I think Joe Keery's character. I will say, I'm gonna go. You said this a long time ago, but I disagree about the fact that like there aren't that there are guys like this that Instagram live all the time or Twitch stream all the time. I think Twitch streaming is a better example, but people that just have zero
Yeah.
followers but are constantly online. And I think this kind of character who's following all of like the rules that YouTube and Twitch like set up for you, where they're like, this is how you got to talk, and like this is how, like, don't forget to subscribe, and all this like terminology, they like abide by those so religiously and don't go anywhere with it. And it's just a very sad and empty way of being all the time, especially when you're like living or like live streaming that whole time. I'm just like, it's a very like embarrassing type of person that this movie,
Yeah.
I think, just nailed.
You know what? I think maybe I just like to think there are no people like this.
Yeah, me
I
too.
think that it makes me sleep a lot easier.
yeah.
You know what? Do you think people get annoyed? You know what? I know the answer to this is yes, but I was going to say, do you think people get annoyed that you don't look like you're trying at all to do any, like, you know, you don't follow any of like the rules on like social media or anything, and then people still follow you?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. There was a thing a while ago. This was a long time ago. But a big thing is like my YouTube thumbnails are as bare boned as it gets sometimes. Like I don't, even though I put more effort into them than a lot of other film YouTubers. But people are just mad because they're like, it's just a white screen and like 2 words. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah,
They're
but
like, why isn't my video more popular than this?
Yeah, and I'm like, that is something that I've actively, I hate YouTube, like, what's it called, presentation or whatever. I don't like the way YouTube thumbnails look. I don't like the way YouTubers talk, which is why I've just tried to like avoid that at all costs. And I think that's honestly part of my appeal, I think, is that I'm just very, I don't know. I
mean,
I don't,
honestly, I think it's because your appeal is primarily that you're incredibly handsome.
That too, yeah. Some people just don't have the sauce, and that's, you know, that's just that's just all it is. Yeah. We haven't even talked about this. I won't touch on
What
it
I
too much.
watched this month, Myself in the Mirror.
5 out of 5.
5
Did
out
that.
of 5. Would watch all day.
Did that more than 20 times this month. Yeah. I do think this is a good horror movie too. I don't think there's anything scary about this movie. It's not an actual horror movie, but I think it's appealing in the same way like an 80s slasher is, where it's just like really, there's some really fun kills when they're like leaning out of the rooftop of the car. I was like, that was really fun.
Yeah, it does have the vibe of like an updated B movie, because like I don't think there are as many of those types of movies that at least gain any kind of traction now. And I think a lot of the things that we're saying are good about this film are definitely the point of the film, and the things I don't like, I don't think. I think they were deliberate choices to make a film that I just overall it's not like I'm not the audience for this film.
Yeah.
Like again, I think you are the audience of this film, where it's someone who this is what they want in a film. Where for me, I'm like, I don't know, this seems kind of shallow for me, and it's just I didn't find it that fun, and you found it fun.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. That is the thing. I do think I've literally like wanted a movie like this for a while that can be unapologetically stupid with everything about itself. It's like, this doesn't even make an attempt to look good, let alone be like at all smart with how it presents. Like nothing about it is trying to be anything other than it is. And I think that's a big part about why I like this.
I 100% agree that it's not trying to be this like grand social commentary.
Yeah.
I think it's just using that as the platform, like the fact that this is like a discussion that's being had right now, and it's just pushing that to the literal like most extreme possible version, and saying, here, now have a fun movie with some crazy like guy who wants to kill people.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I mean, it's not like there's any logic to the choices that are made in this film.
No. It's yeah. None of it makes honestly. A lot of it doesn't make sense. Like I don't like the man should not have lasted this long. The cops would have caught him.
And also, after like 10 people would have seen it, at least one of them would have like flagged this live stream.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
there's no way.
100%.
Right.
That is a
they would have
big...
been able to track him immediately. Like there's no like logic to how the plot worked. Like there's no world in which these series of events would have been allowed to happen.
Yeah. That's a thing that I think maybe it wasn't intentional, but like the movie lacks any sort of like brand intervent. Like they never intervene on any of this.
Yeah.
Like usually Twitch is so quick to block something, and YouTube even worse. It's like they're but I guess this movie was made before that became a huge thing. But that's why I think it's interesting to make a movie like this about that time.
Yeah, whenever you do some sketch stuff on Twitch, they block you right away.
Taking my pants off, shitting on the tables,
running down the streets of LA, just
naked.
Yeah.
I'm Twitch's bad boy, famously. That's what they call me.
But they keep coming back because you're so handsome.
Yeah. They're like, we need that look.
Yeah, we need the bad boy of shitting on tables in Los Angeles.
Cool. Well, what are you feeling for a score for this?
Now,
this flick?
I have a very good feeling that this might be our biggest disparity that we've ever had on this podcast.
It probably is, yeah.
Because you seem to really like this film.
I don't love
like a
it,
lot,
but I do like it. I think it's a good movie.
I gotta go 2.
Okay, that's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Mine is a 4 out of 5, which
yeah, I don't know if we've ever had a 2-star difference.
No, that's a 2-star difference.
That's like the hotel that I'm in. That's 2 star.
Is it really a 2-star hotel?
Probably, yeah. It's pretty cheap.
Yeah, that's. I mean, you do.
It's
what
not
you
bad
do.
though, you know.
No.
Cool.
Cool.
There's a picture of Salzburg on the wall.
Yeah, I love.
I know the reason. I'm in Salzburg. That's why. That's the reason. It says Salzburg.
You're not. You're doing a French accent. That's not. Yeah.
I started to, and I was in France too long. Like now, whenever I read things that are not in English, I assume they're French, and like I can't get my brain to understand that. But luckily, I'm leaving German-speaking places quite soon, so I don't need to worry about it.
Nice. Well, that's Spree, and that's check it out.
Get it? Because it's like Killing Spree.
Oh, I'm just now getting that one. Yeah. Cool. It's on Hulu.
I did not know that. Just to be clear, yeah, it's on Hulu in the U.S. I did not. Also, I don't know if any other countries even have Hulu.
Yeah, I don't know.
I did not know this film existed until you said let's watch it yesterday. I'd never heard of this film.
Yeah, it's not very well known. I mean, it was like a midnight selection at Sundance 2 years ago, before the pandemic, or a year ago. I don't know. It was 2020, and then it had like a pretty like quiet release across. Like, it didn't gain a lot of traction. It's just not the most. It's not the most accessible movie, I would say. It's not. People aren't running to the theaters for this one, but it was produced by Drake, or by his production company, which is very random.
Do you think Drake had a lot of input?
I don't know. I don't.
Did Drake do the songs?
Maybe. Who's to say? I will say someone who did have input is Logan Paul. Apparently, they hit up Logan Paul to ask him about the culture of online, and that's gonna do though. We should move into questions.
We should move into questions because you have a heart out.
I have a heart out pretty soon here. This first one comes from $15 patron Gavin Henderson, and it is, who are your biggest inspirations regarding what you do? This does not.
This is a great question for you. I'll have to think about what I even do.
Yeah. Are there any people? Well, yeah. I guess just like inspirations for anything is a good. I think. I don't know. For YouTube, I would say Naked Jakey. he's he's
What?
a YouTuber named Naked Jakey. He makes
I've never
amazing
heard of this
videos.
person.
Yeah. He's really good at what he does. He's hasn't made a video in like 8 months now, which only means he's like putting a lot of work into this next video.
Are you making this person up?
I'm not. Naked Jakey is a real person, and he's one of, I kid you not, he's one of the most respected YouTubers, I think, that I know of. Like,
Really?
People, yeah, he makes video game related stuff, but not like Let's Plays. He just kind of talks about video games on a, what's it called? A medicine ball? One of those exercise balls. He like
The
sits
medicine
on one of
balls are the ones you
those.
throw.
Not that.
They're like the really heavy ones.
Like one of the ones you like sit on, you know, and he sits on those and has a green screen and talks about different video games, and they're really well made videos, and I really respect his like work ethic and his editing. It's really well done.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna trust you on this, but you're like, I respect the work ethic, but he hasn't made a video in 8 months.
Yeah. Yeah, he works hard, but doesn't, you know, he's a quality
You're
over
like,
quantity
yeah.
kind of guy.
I'm like, my favorite YouTuber, his name is Sicky Nicky. He his videos, he has a pet eagle that he trains and it flies around his head while he talks about his favorite flags of countries.
Basically what I just said, yeah. Yeah. So big shout out to Naked Jakey. What about you, Jeff?
I gotta recover from that.
Yeah. Assuming you're not going to say the same answer.
Yeah. If any Naked Jakey fans out there wasn't dissing Naked Jakey. I was just trying to understand. Oh God, I don't even do anything. How can I have some reason? What do I do?
I don't know. Like, do you look up to any like traveling people, like sports?
Rick Steves.
Yeah,
What
Rick
about Rick Steves?
Ricky Stevie, like Naked
Ricky
Jakey.
Steve. Sicky Ricky. Yeah, he goes to countries and he just throws up in one of the lakes. No, I mean, I think that I think, you know what? I'm going to make an actual effort at this, at YouTube. I don't know. I mean, like, not like as seriously as you do it, of course. Cause you're like, you know, that's like your actual full-time job.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna start making some stuff, and then once I do that, I'm probably gonna have to watch people to figure out how I should make stuff.
Yeah.
And then I'll have an answer.
Nice.
You know, for
Okay,
now
cool.
though, I do have an answer. For now, I am inspired by my good friend Karsten Rundquist.
I knew you were gonna say this.
You
should be like,
in
I'm
a
inspired by
on a
the
serious
patrons.
note. No, on a serious note, I think that, you know, the things you were saying about Naked Jakey are also true of yourself, and that you have a tremendous work ethic.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. I'll take that. Thank you.
Also, just incredibly handsome.
Great with parents.
Great with
too.
parents.
Yeah. This next one comes from Nicole is doing fine, and it is: do y'all have a favorite / preferred time period when it comes to period pieces? I don't know. I do like the 70s movies.
Yeah.
When they take place.
Yeah,
in
I
the
like
70s.
80s movies. I do have a few favorite. Well, I don't really like westerns that much.
Yeah.
But I like kind of like Little Women era things.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I forget exactly what time period that takes place
Yeah,
in.
I don't know how to answer that.
Okay, I'm gonna look up when like
Yeah.
when does Little Women
take place?
take place? There's you know what? Okay, can I tell you, when you type when does Little, you know what the Google auto like finish, like the autocomplete things are? It's when does Little Island open and when does Little Caesars close? And then there's then when does Little Women take place? That's third.
Wow.
Early 1860s.
Everybody's... Wow. Okay. That is a good
there you
time
go.
period.
Yeah.
I also have recently, I was going to make a video on this, but I like period pieces that are literally from like a decade ago. Like, I think
Yeah.
Uncut Gems is a period piece for 2010. And I'm like, I love that. I think that's a period we can start making movies about and look back on, because very specific time. And, yeah.
What were you doing in 2010 that a film would be made about?
I was in middle school, so 8th grade could be a movie that they make about me.
Did you start like, were you doing a lot of swimming?
I was dabbling in swimming, but I was mostly doing parkour at that time.
So it's just about a middle schooler who does parkour.
Yeah. Someone really should make a parkour movie. I think I'm going to try and make that happen, to be honest.
Yeah.
no
Here's the
one's made a
issue
parkour
if it's a
movie yet.
small budget parkour movie is the insurance would have to be
Oh, it'd be
astronomical.
crazy. Yeah.
Like, imagine doing the like Indiegogo fundraising campaign. You're like, so here's the budget breakdown.
Budget breakdown.
It's like, okay, so $5,000 to pay actors, $3,000 for the food, $28,000 for the insurance for the stunt guy.
We will be jumping from one building to another, so we just have to be safe.
He's gonna be jumping from a cruise ship to dry land.
Doing a flip, too, when he does it. Yeah.
Also, he's gonna be riding a motorcycle.
We're doing the next Mission Impossible, is what I'm saying.
It's actually about Evel Knievel if he was
Yeah.
a parkour guy also.
Yeah. Well, this last one comes from Born Bucket 93, and it's thoughts on censorship. Should we have more faith in people self-censoring / not censor, warn people about the change in societal thinking, or wipe away the history and say it didn't happen?
Do you know what this is referring to specifically?
No. There is a movie that came out recently called Censor, about a woman who works as a film censor, where she, watches movies and gives them ratings or whatever, and or figures out what gets played and what doesn't. It takes place in like the 80s, and it could be in light of that movie. I doubt it, but I don't know what it's referring to. I know like Disney has wiped away a lot of their stuff,
Like
and,
Song of the South.
yeah, a lot of like terrible things have gone under the rug, and
Yeah.
I think this is a tough question, because there's
It's hard to answer when you don't have, in broad generalizations.
Yeah.
So I think you do at some point need to evaluate everything on a case by case basis.
right.
But I think that so something similar to this is what a lot of states and like cities are doing with Confederate monuments. Mm-hmm. What they're doing is removing them from like where they were in public view, so that people that would be upset by them don't have to pass them every day as like this point of emphasis in a city.
Yeah.
But they're not destroying them. What they're doing is they're moving them to like a museum or something where they can properly contextualize them. So in that way, they're not erasing the fact that someone put them up, right? Because I think the act of putting them up, oftentimes it was not done until 50 years after the Civil War ended.
Yeah.
So the act of putting them up in itself was a choice made at a specific time that is reflecting the kind of feelings of people.
Yeah.
You know, because monuments are of course people later on trying to remember something, and it's like, why do you want to remember this? That in itself is noteworthy. So what then you can do is contextualize these things in like a designated area or museum, and then instead of making them look like a point of like pride for a city where it looks like the whole city's behind this idea of a Confederate general or something,
Yeah.
you can give the public, like, at a earlier time in our history, this is like something that people felt the need to put up, even though of course it was for generally like racist reasons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Totally. And I think
Now I do actually, I'm gonna go one step further. I just came to Salzburg, but before this I was in Munich, which of course has a very checkered past.
yeah.
But they do something similar to that in some ways, where actually it's weird. In some ways they kind of like erase some of the history. But Munich actually was where Hitler rose to power initially, and was the headquarters of the Nazi Party. So, but they do have some very good museums there that, you know, contextualize this stuff. And that's, you know, that's a little bit different because it wasn't, the U.S. Army ordered all of the Nazi things to be torn down like immediately, so there weren't these like lasting things, and they weren't building monuments later on.
Yeah.
But the way that they now contextualize that time period in the museums, I think is very interesting, and it's necessary to not completely erase it, because initially that is what they did, is they pretty much erased it because the U.S. to take all this stuff down, and the people in the town pretty much just tried to forget it, and there was really no record.
Yeah.
So they actually reused a lot of the buildings because so many of their buildings were destroyed that like the Nazi buildings were just reused, and they did not have any mention of what they used to be until much, much later. So it's only more recently they've started to contextualize this stuff. And I think that's kind of important. Anyways, I don't know why I just went on this really, really long.
No. That that answers the question. I think I assume this question's like referring to films, and I would say the same applies to films. Like, I don't, to a certain extent. I am not someone who thinks it should be like erased entirely, because that's just wiping away history. But it should, like you were saying, I think I'm for the idea of like recontextualizing it, or like putting it at a different space.
I'm not saying that you
shouldn't be putting that stuff
like
on
you
Disney
should have
Plus.
Tongue of the South on Disney Plus, exactly. But the issue further, you know, is that Disney is the one who owns a lot of these properties in this instance. So they're the ones who kind of decide what to do with it, and they want it to disappear. But obviously it shouldn't disappear, because there's lessons to be learned from everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool.
As long as you contextualize it in the correct way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that answers that question. And
we got to wrap up. You have a hard out soon. You got to go
I got
meet
a hard out. I got to go meet some parents.
your girlfriend's parents, which they're going to love you. I'm going to tell you that right now.
I hope so. The dad was a swimmer and also likes movies, so I think I'm in.
Okay,
clear.
you got to compare best times.
Oh, I will. I'm bringing the leather jacket. Just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm not. Well, let's get into the wrap up. We'll start with a review. We encourage you guys to leave reviews because we love hearing what you have to say about the pod. A lot of good reviews that we have to get through. So keep them coming. We love reading them. This the only one for today comes from Random Gonk Droid from USA. Subject line, great pod and 5 stars. And it reads, I've been a long-time listener of the podcast, and I love the episodes. Even though they rarely talk about movies I've seen, it really doesn't matter. Hearing the suave... I've heard... Hearing the suave of Jeff and Carson's voice is all that is necessary to make the podcast.
Now I'm not sure what this word was.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't... We're just going to say suave.
I thought they were just going to call you suave.
No.
I thought they were just going to be like, hearing the suave Carson.
Because hearing the suave of
also cool
is
Jeff.
Not, it is all that is necessary to make the podcast work. The podcast is 90% Jeff saying random stuff and making Carson break out in laughter and or attempt to connect with what Jeff is saying, and 10% talking about movies. A moment of silence for the recommendation segment, please. Thank you. And that's it. Thank you, Random Gonk Droid.
You know, I feel like random gonk droid really does get the podcast.
That is a very accurate description of the podcast, yeah. So thank you. Lovely review. Next, we want to announce the next movie. Jeff, you can... what's the word? Oppose?
Yeah.
Or you can...
Okay, yeah. Every time you say this and we have not talked about it, my brain's always like, wait, did we actually pick something?
We didn't, but this won't be a new idea. What if we watched Raw? It's a movie called Raw.
Yeah, I actually forget what that's about.
I'll read it for you. It is a horror movie, but it's not like a horror. I know we just watched a horror movie.
Yeah,
It's what was this word? Stringent vegetarian Justine encounters a decadent, merciless, and dangerously seductive world during her first week at veterinary school. Desperate to fit in, she strays from her principles and eats raw meat for the first time. The young woman soon experiences terrible and unexpected consequences as her true self begins to emerge.
That sounds ridiculous.
It's really kind of gross. You know what? If you have any other ideas, I'm open to them.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
We'll talk. Okay. I really love this movie, but that I will understand if you don't want to watch this.
No, we'll watch it. We'll watch it. Let's just pick now. Raw. That's the film.
Okay. It's on Prime. It's only 99 minutes. So yeah, that's the movie. It's French. Cool. And lastly, we want to thank our patrons over at patreon.com/Carscast. If you'd like to become a patron, head on over there. We have tons of fun perks like monthly Zoom Hangouts, which we just did yesterday. It was a ton of fun. We have bonus episodes and shout-outs at the end of every episode, which is what I'm about to do. Great group of lads and really helps support the pod. So without any further ado, thank you, Alex Thomas, Antonio DeMarco, Ben Chow, Blake Root, Boat, Boyoyoy, Brandon Yu, Brock Schultz, Camilla, Chuck the Duck, Daniel Cook, David Sir, David, there's David, and then there's David Sir, Eden, Gavin Henderson, Grant Gow, Harry Remedianakis, Iva, Jaden Easton, Jacob Colness, John Van Hout, Jordan Hill, Judy S, KDT, Liv Rob, Lukewarm, Martin Deff, Mary Lee Borslow, Meridian, Michael Rennie, Monroe Page, Nora B, Parks, Riley Ost, Robots Baby, Yeah, Robots, Woo, Let's Go Robots, Skylar Ermel, Sophia Arieta, Stella Perry, Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, Smitty Werbin, Jagerman Jensen, The Monopoly Man, Tom Likes Beans, Vegard Strom, Vera S, Wes Kinley, Xavier Fossier, Yusef A, and Zoe Hernandez McDonald. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Well, I think.
Well, you have a hard out in 5 minutes, so we just gotta go. I think
I'm gonna change.
Let's get out of here. All
right.
Catch you on the flip side.
Catch you on the flip side.
Flip side.